Welcome to the Well-Seasoned Librarian podcast. This is season 14, episode 7. I'm your host, Dean Jones. Are you as enthusiastic about the art of food photography as I am? Then Louiie Victa is the photographer for you. After 20 years rocking pro kitchens, she swapped the heat for the lens, merging her love of food and photography. Now she whips up mouth-watering dishes that double as eye candy for cookbooks, commercials, and magazines, like Eater, National, Bon Appetit, you name it. But wait, there's more. When Louie isn't busy capturing culinary masterpieces, she's off the grid, traveling the world, conquering mountains on her bike, and chilling with her best bud, Dobby, a very cool, very naked cat. We now go to our conversation with Louiie Victa. Welcome to the Well-Seasoned Librarian podcast. I'm your host, Dean Jones, and I'm thrilled to be talking with the legend and creative genius, Louiie Victa, a food photographer from Las Vegas. Louie, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me, Dean.
Now, can you tell our listeners where you're from in the world and where you live now? I mean, I guess we just said it, so Las Vegas, I guess that, but where you're from and how long have you lived in Las Vegas?
Wow. So I am a Filipino immigrant. Came to the Philippines when I was about 19 years old, a long time ago, and kind of like lived in San Francisco for a bit, and then
Nice.
I migrated to Las Vegas. I've been here since 2004, so that's about 20 years. Been here since the town was nothing but tumbleweed and casinos.
Nice, nice. Now, is there anything you miss about the Bay Area?
The weather, the weather,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
absolutely.
The beaches, yep. I would say, the hiking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's all the
Wonderful
nature
hiking.
stuff. All the nature stuff, not saying that Las Vegas does not have that. It's just
Yeah.
when the season is right, you got to get on it.
I want to talk about your photography. It's your passion and your art. How did you get into photography? How did that come to you?
You know, I guess I always had like an interest in visual media. I've always taking pictures even before the iPhone. I'm talking about like little digital cameras.
Yeah,
Cameras would film prior to that.
I remember that. I'm old enough to remember that.
Right. No, I mean it's pretty cool. So I guess I always had that kind of like hobby growing up. And then how I became a photographer. So I was working in a kitchen, and at the time, I was working for the Win, and they provided a tuition reimbursement program.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they weren't like, job specific. Like your area of study has to be related to whatever you're doing.
Yeah,
So I just went for like a film and photography degree at the local community college, and that's where, it kind of like solidified. It was an interesting time too because I had entered school at the time when they were phasing out film um and moving towards digital.
yeah,
So I got a little bit of both, and I learned to
nice.
appreciate both because there's just like it's an absolute art to be able to work with film and develop it and stuff.
Now, you mentioned you worked in kitchens. Did you always have a love of food? Did you know that that's what you wanted to do? Do you have any favorite food memories you want to talk about as well?
Yeah. Well, you know what? If you asked me as a 7-year-old what I really wanted to be, I would say I wanted to become a veterinarian
Nice.
because
Good field.
I loved animals. I loved animals, but I mean, going to college, I guess I got into cooking. So it's a joke that I tell everyone. It's also in an article that was published about me that I went from caring for animals to cooking some species. Some, only some
Nice.
species.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Did you?
Plus, I think sorry.
That's okay.
There was a point where I watched a video of birthing a cow, and I was like, no, I'm not cut out for that.
It's a tough field. It really is. I've known
Yes.
people that have done it, and some of the stuff they have to go through is pretty gruesome. I don't think I would want to do it myself.
Yeah, no. It's just, just sticking almost like half of his body inside the cow to pull that little calf out. I was just, yeah. I was like, not my calling.
You're gonna want to miss All Creatures Great and Small. Never watch that. You're gonna want to miss that TV show.
All right, let me look
Yeah,
it up.
yeah. That's basically the whole show.
That's awesome.
But it's in England, so I guess it's more charming. I don't know.
Everything's charming with a British accent.
That's
Trust
right.
me.
Yeah. Now we're putting our arm up a cow's bum.
Right? Now, out comes the cow. Little pole.
He, yeah, he spent 20 years in professional kitchen before diving into food photography. What made you finally take the leap and switch gears? Was it the schooling, or did you kind of think, did you think you wanted to kind of do something else?
I think that there comes a certain time in one's cooking career, and I'm going to compare it to like a sports career,
Yeah,
where you'll eventually like learn that you really just need to move on, either to management or something less taxing, heavy on the body. Because I mean, no human being should be standing for like 18, 20 hours straight.
yeah,
In your 20s, that's fine and dandy. But once you hit your 30s, 40s, it's kind of like just try to observe like all the lifers in the kitchen. There's a ton of them with just like really, really poor posture, back problems, etc., etc. So there's like that physical side of it. And then there's also, the evolution side of so I took up film and video, and I'm like, what do I do? What I do with this, And obviously I live in Las Vegas. Obviously this town like needs a lot of like advertising and food photography. So I was like, okay, I can do this. I can marry, both my career loves. So that's how I really got into it. And it was during the pandemic
ah,
when, yeah, when everybody just started thinking about other careers too. Because a lot of seasoned professionals also left the food service industry. I hate that they kind of like classified it as a non-essential business, the food
yeah.
food service industry. Just from the get-go, but that changed, obviously. But yeah, I hate that so many people in the industry were like really deeply affected by the closure. So yeah, that's where I started thinking. And at the time I was already shooting for Eater. I'm like, you know what? I mean, there's only one way to find out if you're going to be successful. Just burn all the boats when you get to the island. So
Yeah.
I just took that leap.
I don't think we talk enough about how the pandemic, as an example, just gutted the food industry and really. I mean, we saw so many restaurants close here in the Bay Area, and I don't. I think people are kind of blithe about it. They're just kind of like, oh, well, I guess it happens, and it's like, hey, this is a lot of people's livelihoods, and also people are quick to complain if there's, oh, why aren't there more restaurants in my neighborhood? It's like, well, because you guys kind of screwed them over. But I don't know. I
Hmm.
don't feel like that the cities and the counties have done enough to really kind of watch their back and kind of help them out a little bit. I do think we needed more to be done. I'd like to talk to more chefs about that because I really saw, a negative turn. Like you said, they didn't consider food restaurants as essential, which is a crime. I think they definitely are it's part of what brings people to a town. It kind of creates the atmosphere for a town. It's an important part of our civic life.
Yeah, it definitely is like a fabric of society.
Yeah,
I mean, my mom told me growing up, it's either you get into healthcare or food or funeral parlors. 'Cause that's the cycle of life.
yeah. Funeral parlors are very lucrative. I think
Right? I know.
that's never going to be
An awesome skill to have.
yeah, not my
Sorry to be morbid, but yeah.
no, I almost went into that. Then my friend who did it, I said, do you date much? And he's like, no, not really. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. I don't think
True that. True that. On home
it's,
vibes.
yeah, I'm not going to pass on that one. You do a lot of work that you create eye candy dishes. Can you walk us through your process of turning food into art for photography?
Um, from which viewpoint? From like a layperson or.
Yeah, I think from a layperson, like how do you kind of break it down to
Okay.
kind of create something that's going to pop for us when we look at it?
Gotcha. So just like imagine if somebody like hands you a stack of pancakes for
Yeah.
breakfast, right? So it's all about storytelling. Storytelling. Piecing together a photo, I would say, is it consists of like telling the story. Like, what are these pancakes made of? What's on the pancakes? Or is there syrup? What time are we serving it? Do we want golden light? Uh, and all that. So kind of like incorporating all of those detailed elements into a single photo. That, I mean, there's the backdrop too. Where are we serving these?
Yeah.
So the more information you can grab from basically one single frame, and you obviously show you can't tell, but there's also copy on Instagram now. But I mean, apart from that, I think that's the basics of like the construction of like a really beautiful food photo. There's just so many elements to look at. It tells you a story, keeps you help, keeps your eyes there for more than just like 5 seconds. You don't just scroll through it. Like I think that's what creates, I would say, like staying power in eye candy or food porn.
I I'll try and do food photography every once in a while on Instagram, and I always think I'm, doing something that's amazing. And then I look at it and I'm like, this looks like my cat could have done this. And I was just like accidentally by just hitting my phone. And I'm always like, like what are some of the biggest challenges you face when you're shooting food photography as a professional?
Oh, wow. There's obviously that food styling element, which
Yeah.
isn't really like a challenge if you like I'm working with like somebody else, but when it's just be the process becomes a little bit more tedious.
Yeah.
Also photography is the study of light.
Yeah.
And right now in Las Vegas, there's too much light at this time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
learning how to control light and shadows and all that from a more seasoned technical aspect, that I think is like challenging for most photographers. So because we have to shoot with strobes here because casinos here don't really have big open windows.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Yeah. They kind of want to get you locked in that you went in at a certain time and they want you to feel that you've just only been there for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's
Yeah.
no sense of night and day. So you have to be able to recreate that. And then obviously, work hand in hand with whomever you're shooting with, which restaurant group on their design, their vision, bringing their room to life, just giving spirit to the restaurant, basically. That's challenging.
You've worked with some impressive names like International and Bon Appetit. What has been your career highlight for you so far? The jobs that you really were very excited to do?
Oh man. There's been tons. And
Yeah.
this is why I've been antisocial on social media.
Yeah. You've been
Just
busy.
keep going, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
quieter you are, the busier you are. People don't seem to understand that. Uh, yeah. Um, Lately, and this has been a super career highlight. When World's 50 Best came into town, I was invited by the Win to shoot with their creative team to capture these beautiful once in a lifetime dinners. Yeah, that was like a super career highlight because I think they only selected about 6 food photographers from all over the US to
Damn.
join in on the fun. Yep, 6 or actually maybe less.
That's a hell of a kudo for you. Wow.
Yeah, and like shooting side by side with like, like my heroes when I started out like 4 years ago, Mr. Sabin Orr and Bill Milne. I'm like, okay, yeah. I came in like really nervous because I'm like, I gotta bring my A game here. But it was amazing, like meeting all these other cool photographers and just like sharing the energy of all these chefs, like be having the best seat in the house because like I'm actually observing in the kitchen, how beautifully they create these dishes before they even come out. It's
That's
like
kind
a
of
lot
amazing.
work in there.
That's kind of amazing because like you're working with your heroes, but like they picked you because you're as good as them. That must be. How does that feel for you?
Oh man. Um I tend not to take compliments very well.
Yeah.
But I do recognize I will give myself a pat on the back because like I did really put in a lot of hard work over the past 4 years. Just when I burned those boats, like I said earlier,
Yeah.
oh man, I went to town. I really went to work.
Yeah.
Really, really built, you know, my foundations and really worked hard.
Now you you contribute of, to fine art food photography projects. How does your approach with this differ from creating art photography versus commercial work?
Well, I mean, commercial works usually to benefit sales.
Yeah.
Art to me is to to communicate and change things about like the food industry. Or like, okay, there's also like an aesthetic that you just like creating something for the sake of it's something's beautiful. That's not really useful and purposeful to a restaurant, but it is to you, it has meaning to you. So that's eventually something that I want to have time for. I used to have the time to do it right around like the holidays. I would kind of just like shut off my books and just shoot for me.
Yeah.
And I found that really rewarding. But I've been so just occupied lately with the work and commercial photography. So yeah,
Have you ever had a project that just you thought, I don't know how I'm gonna pull this off? Like you ever had one that just like kind of like stumped you?
I got a running list. I always have a running list. If there's anything that my photography teacher told me, um, always just some idea comes up, write it down because you'll never know. You might come back to it later. Actually, you know, just maybe a little under a month ago, I shot downtown, and I didn't really realize that because I had requested like, can we take down some of the paintings
Yeah.
so I can like incorporate that because that's like a whole beautiful feature of the restaurant. It's called Palette
Hmm.
in downtown Las Vegas. So
Oh wow.
there's all these like cool paintings and stuff. So I requested to take a painting down, you know, use it as a backdrop. The dish just like worked so well against it. And then I realized like, oh my God, this is like one of the ideas I had in my little notebook, my little actually it's just Apple Notes. Sorry,
Yeah.
digital. Yeah.
Yeah.
That, you know, shooting against like art and works of art and stuff like that. So that was like a step in the right direction. And when I realized it, I was like, "Oh guys, you don't even know how happy you're making me because now I'm getting paid to do it, right?"
Yeah.
So yeah, just lending that creativity to other people. You know, you have an idea that works, they love it. I think that's the juice, really, in creativity and photography, food photography.
You mentioned in your bio that you like to travel and you like to, like hike and do mountain biking. Do these experiences ever influence your photography and make you think of new ways to shoot?
Oh, definitely. Uh, you know, I wouldn't do too well as a photography teacher in terms of like technical. You know, can't quote you numbers and stuff like that. I'm more of
Yeah.
like a very intuitive shooter.
Yeah.
Um, I do know enough though to make a photo amazingly beautiful, but um, it's the creativity and things, these other like hiking, mountain biking. Like when you're on a mountain bike, that's my creative reset. It's like pressing a button because like I cannot think of anything else except for be on that mountain bike. Otherwise, I would just like fall to the ground and eat it. And that would be a career ender, especially in mountain biking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anybody's said if you've heard of like the saying that, you know, it's in mountain biking, it's not if you fall, it's when you fall. So,
Yeah.
you know, like just being aware of those things because accidents, man, they happen in a split second. And
Yeah.
like not in the ways that you think too. But yeah, I think it's an activity that really brings me closer to my intuition because you really get that gut feel. Like say for instance, when you're balancing and you hit like a little rock or like you're going downhill and the grade's a little too steep for you, you'll feel those butterflies in your stomach. The warning signs are there. So I think for people who with very, very, very busy careers, I think I think biking in general, cycling, and just being there alone with your thoughts or without thoughts. That's like a really good sport to indulge in.
Nice. I like
Yeah.
that. Now, speaking on that level, we all need some downtime. What does a perfect off the grid day look like for you?
Oh man. With travel or without?
Either way, either one.
Oh man. I love exploring new towns, love finding food places, just love looking at nature, um getting close to it, not getting eaten by it. Hopefully,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
seeing a
Especially, yeah. Where you're at, you got a lot of things that could eat you out there in the desert.
eat or bite, send you to the
Yeah, yeah,
hospital. Yeah. I mean, I've seen quite a few rattlers and tarantulas. Tarantulas are cool. They're just there.
yeah. I like them.
They're
They're laid back.
yeah, they're not like, oh, I'm gonna jump
Yeah,
on your face and I'm gonna eat your face. They're not like that. So
no.
yeah, no, they're cool. Yeah, love doing that, love traveling. Have you guys ever been to Zion? Zion's beautiful. Utah's beautiful.
No, I
Um,
haven't. I've heard about it though. I've heard good things about it.
mhm. It's just that, around these parts, when the weather permits you to do it, you don't say maybe, you just go.
Yeah,
Because
good
there
point.
will come a time where Las Vegas just gets too hot, or in the wintertime, a little bit too cold. So, you're kind of limited to indoor activities by then. So that's with travel. The bigger the language barrier, I think, the better. Because I mean, at the end of the day, as long as I don't end up in like some form of a foreign jail,
Yeah,
if I'm able to order myself a meal, see the sights, take some lovely photos, make some memories in like a good foreign place, I'm all for it. That would be a
nice.
typical adventure to me. And then at home, lately I've been like big on making breakfasts.
Ooh,
Yeah, now I've been double downing on those like protein pancakes and just trying to develop my own recipes, basically.
nice.
Yeah,
Will we see a cookbook from you in the future?
maybe,
Maybe.
maybe,
Nice.
maybe. Um, I guess a lot of people like expecting because I do have the right skill set for that.
Yeah,
I just need to align some stuff. You know what I mean?
I hope to see
Because
that. That would be wonderful.
the foundation is there. Just need to create the
Yeah.
outline basically and the to-do list.
It's so easy to say though, write a book. I mean, it's not easy. It's a lot of work. It's quite a thing.
No, it's like all art.
Yeah.
I think I can always compare it to stage fright.
Yeah.
You get to that space, you're doing your art, and then you're already at that level, and then you just like choke, or you don't want to let it go, or you don't want anybody to see it.
Yeah.
There's always that hurdle first. And then there's always the, oh, where do I begin? So, I mean, if you have an outline and you can piece together something, I mean, hopefully you'll be able to align everything in like a nice little checkbox
Yeah.
or checklist. Yeah.
Well, jumping off of that, I mean, you created a really wonderful career, and you're doing very well in it now. But you kind of had to take that leap, and like you said, burn your bridges behind you or burn the boats behind you. Do you have any advice for people that are kind of struggling with imposter syndrome and want to move forward but kind of don't have the wherewithal? Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, just Nike. Do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Because the thing with that is, if you really sit down at the end of the day, I mean, what separates you from these other heroes that you're looking up to, these people that you admire, whose Instagram accounts you follow, or whose art or music that you follow, you both are human, you know?
Yeah.
And you just got to figure out what this other person's like doing that you're not. And to me, the huge part of that is time. Time is like your most valuable resource.
Yeah.
So if you figure out and really assess where you are and you want to get from point A to point B or C, devise a plan to get there, do the steps, put in the work, basically. I think you'd be in a good track.
Yeah.
That's probably the advice if because honestly, I wish I would have done it sooner. I wish I would have believed in myself. I wish I wouldn't have listened. I wish I wouldn't have listened to like the 10 million um other like excuses that I used to give myself. Like, okay, I'll spend another year here in the kitchen because I have insurance. Because you
Yeah.
know what, it's a steady paycheck. Because I don't think anybody's gonna like my photos or my art, or I don't know how to, I don't know if I can run a business or market myself, or all of those unknowns. So
Yeah.
it's just basically like just facing that fear. And if you're a little cautious, try to assess your pie of time, right? Seven
Yeah.
days out of the week, you can go ahead and work your day job or whatever it is that your career is, your current career, but make sure that you're trickling in at first maybe 10% of that whatever it is that you want to do, be it arts or photography or music or whatever, or accounting or just a new field to study. 10% of that into your week, and then raise the bar to 20, and then 30, and then 40. And then of course, you're going to get into that like level of proficiency and comfortability for you to be able to say, you know what? Yeah, I think I can do this. Not sure if you've read Elizabeth Gilbert's latest book about creativity. Was it her
No, I
latest?
haven't. I've seen it, but I have not read it yet.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
had
I'm
people recommend it to me.
super big audiobooks fan.
Me too.
So she basically said that she didn't let go of her day job until she like really made it with Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah.
And yeah, to some people, it's really taxing to just like jump,
Yeah.
because that's where your art suffers. Because now you're all paranoid, like I need to make this profitable.
Yeah.
Don't look at it that way. You have to love what you're doing first and foremost. Because if you're viewing it as a paycheck, then more than likely it's not really what you really want to do. There's
Yeah.
always going to be that like lingering feeling at the end of the day, like, am I on the right path? Am I this, that, blah, 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 you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm older and I've known so many people that are like said, I wish I had done this. I wish I had done that. And I think, when I talk to younger people, I'm like, just take the chances because you're going to regret it later if you don't. I didn't get to get my library degree till I was 50 because I had the fear that people have. I kept talking myself out of it. I finally didn't do it till I was 50. So you just got to like take that leap and do it because you're never
Mhm.
gonna. You don't want to be in
Yeah.
your deathbed, like, thinking, geez, I wish I had been an artist. I wish I had been a writer,
Yeah.
actor, whatever.
Yeah, no. And to some people it's like enough to just like incorporate maybe just 10%. It doesn't have to be like a full career change. But
Right.
whatever it is that they want to delve in, and just spiritual and enriching, by all means, it'll make you a better human being if you do it. So as long as you're not
Absolutely.
harming anyone, as long as
Yep.
you're not harming anyone, or plus 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 if you're contributing to the community. So yeah.
Yeah. Nice. What do you have any projects that are coming up for you that you want to talk about?
Right now, no, I don't have any projects. I am actually going to take some time off, a little
Nice.
bit of time off this summer to just spend more time with my 84-year-old mom.
Nice.
It's her birthday. So
Ah,
I will be taking her on a trip to Mexico.
ooh, nice.
Yeah.
It's
So
gonna be cool.
yeah, no immediate projects. Maybe something's going to spark my interest while I'm there. Maybe I'll start collecting like mole recipes while I'm there. I don't know,
That sounds good. I like that.
or like ceviches and stuff. But I mean, Mexico's a beautiful, beautiful place and home to like a lot of the world's best restaurants.
Oh yeah.
They've got they've got great produce. I'm sorry, but yeah, I live in Las Vegas, so I'm so envious of great produce.
We're spoiled, I think, by it in the Bay Area here. We got so much of it, we kind of take it for granted.
Yeah. You guys kind of do.
Yeah,
But you've got some like amazing chefs that are up and coming that are using your produce and all of your resources and showcasing them in such like a beautiful way. Especially
nice.
up
Yeah.
in the Central Coast. Especially up in the Central Coast. That's like a region to look out for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any restaurants you want to give a shout out for in Las Vegas or the Bay Area?
Uh, in terms of
Just like your favorites, just things you like.
oh, oh man, there's a lot. You'll be speaking with Nicole next week. She
Yep.
can't get enough of palette. I've shot the food, I've tried the food. Definitely go there. I find the food and the cocktails very spirited, and it's basically a really world-class experience that's off the strip. They're a gem in the downtown area for everybody to enjoy.
Mm.
Uh, Absolutely love my local restaurants. There's this Japanese izakaya place called Hachi that I just been to. It kind of reminded me like, oh my God, why have I not visited this place like more often in the past? But yeah, kind of when you walk in, it'll bring you back to if you've ever traveled to Tokyo, that authentic like little, izakaya okonomiyaki bar experience. It was pretty cool. Um, on the strip, I would say give everybody a try. I work for the Jose Andres group. We have like a lot of places on the strip for there. I believe a new Jose Andres restaurant is opening up this summer.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I believe that's going to be a Bazaar Mar concept. So instead of meat, it's seafood. People
Ooh.
should try that. Yeah. There's everything that you can imagine basically on the strip. And I mean, more importantly, I think like the whole dining experience, it's not like where you eat, it's who you eat your meals with. Just
Yeah.
as long as, as long as the food's not like iffy or like they've been featured on Dirty Dining or they have like C's on the wall. Uh yeah, because I'm a big believer in like food and memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what creates the whole like experience.
I
In,
agree.
in restaurants nowadays, they don't just stop at basically serving you good food. It's what happens in the front of the house, how it's delivered to you, how you're being taken care of, if you feel welcomed, you're a real guest, you're not rushed. Each dish that comes out is like crescendos after the one preceding it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's how restaurant groups are like fashioning the whole dining experience now. It can't go wrong. When people present you a menu, it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. But I think it's up to the front of the house to make sure that like adventure makes sense to the guest.
I think we all saw The Bear. Did you get a chance to watch that?
You know what? No, that's also something that I'm going to look forward to.
You're in for a treat. But they talk about that. There was a whole part. I think there's a whole episode in the second season where they just talk about that, and it's kind of exciting
My
seeing
good,
that coming back.
yeah, no, my good friend Jeffrey Weiss, he keeps on texting me about the bear, assuming that I've already watched it. And he said trauma. And I'm like, oh, that's still pretty new to me. I'm still trying to recover a little bit. I'm trying not to bring it into my work right now. No, but I'll watch it. I'll eventually watch it, and there's more than one season now, so yeah, more to binge on.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a few people who work in the industry, and they're like, "Why would I want to watch that? I live that every day." And I'm like, "Okay, that's a fair point. For the rest of us, it's armchair, but like, it's like I could get, I don't know, you could kind of see it either way. It's good. Even if you work in the industry, it's still got a lot of good stuff in it. So
No, 100%. It's like, okay, ask any like professional chef if they're watching like cooking shows, and they will tell you no.
yeah, they'd be kind of almost like, no. It's like me watching something about libraries at the end of the day. I'm like, hell no, I don't want
Oh
to watch
no,
that.
dude. Oh my God. All
Okay,
good.
okay, okay.
All right.
Wonderful talking to you, though. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Bye. That's all the time we have today on the Well Seasoned Librarian. A big thanks to Louiie Victa for joining us and sharing her passion with food photography. If you're looking to elevate your food photography game, be sure to check out her website. You can find the link in the show notes. And get ready for some exciting upcoming episodes in the Well Seasoned Librarian. Next time, we'll be getting spooky with ghost chaser Amy Bruni, who'll be talking about her new cookbook, perfect for those who like a little fright with their food. After that, we'll be taking a delicious bite of history of social media star Barry Enderwick of Sandwiches of History. You won't want to miss it. Thanks again for joining us. Until next time, I'll see you at the library.